OMG. It's Evan and Tiki here on the start of NBA free agency and NHL free agency. Sean Morris, Tiki Barber, Loogie Rosie along the way. Tiki, happy Hartenstein Day to you.
Isn't it Hartenstein?
Hartenstein?
Steen. We're trying to figure it out.
Stein. Does anybody in Oklahoma City know how to say it?
No. No, they won't. And they'll mess it up a million times. But good for Isaiah Hartenstein, whatever you say his last name. But it doesn't matter. Because as Josh Hart said, he's dead to you.
He's dead to me.
He's dead to you now. I mean, look, I feel for the Knicks because they're losing a big piece of what got them deep into the postseason this year. And I think his game, his two-man game with Jalen Brunson was just awesome to watch. It was fun to watch. It was almost guaranteed to be successful. But at the end of the day, we know what this is always about. It's about the dough.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear, I'll take a pay cut to play for a team that I love and it's going to get me nobody cares about that. He went because of the money. And I don't blame him. You're going to miss him, but it's hard to be upset with I-Hart.
I don't think any Knick fan will hold ill will towards him. Obviously, though, when it comes down to I-Hart, the thing that impresses me the most right now when looking at the 3-year, $87 million deal he got is that this wasn't a deal where he went to, the Chicago Bulls or insert random team here. Isaiah Hartenstein has now signed a deal with a team that provides him a better chance to win a championship next year than the team he was on. Hey, and the odds right now in Vegas agree. The Oklahoma City Thunder are bigger favorites to win an NBA Finals with Isaiah Hartenstein there than the Knicks. And I think that's a credit to I-Hart, and he's finding himself in a good spot, making a ton of money. And Tiki, frankly, I think you look at that, and I think Knick fans in all their glory and all the hoopla of adding Mikal Bridges have vastly underestimated their holes as they watch I-Hart walk out the door.
Maybe you're right, because now this puts a lot of pressure on Mitchell Robinson to be a scorer. Right? Because think about what I-Hart did for this team. It wasn't just being a pretty good defender. It was being a scorer.
Right. And his passing in the paint. He was a good facilitator.
100%. He was a complete player. And I hear what you're saying, but I know the Oklahoma City Thunder are good. I know they have a good roster, obviously.
Number one seed in the West.
I mean, right. With
SGA.
Shea got Gilgeous-Alexander. Yep. Right, Andrew Wiggins is on that team. Or Aaron Wiggins, I should say, is on that team. There's some good players on that team, but nobody that I look at. Chet. Nobody I look at that says he's a superstar other than SGA, and I-Hart's going to make that guy better. I think I-Hart has a specific skill set, and a player like Shea is not going to be, I don't know, depending upon I-Hart to create shots for him.
Perhaps.
Like Jalen Brunson did. I think he was in a perfect situation. But again, this all comes down to money. And I get it. And I'm not even talking about that. He was in a perfect situation to excel with the New York Knicks. And now I have no idea what his role is going to look like in Oklahoma City. It could be great.
Right.
But who knows what it's going to look like, to be honest with you.
And obviously that's for Oklahoma City Thunder fans and Oklahoma City Sports Radio to figure out.
Right.
We'll obviously tackle the Knick issue on this. I'll tell you what I-Hart reminds me a lot of as a center, if you could live with this apples and oranges comparison. Reminds me a lot of Jalen Brunson signing with the Knicks, where maybe the best is yet to come for I-Hart, and it looks like a steal from the center position. But ultimately, here's my problem with the makeup. In the Knicks, maneuvering of money here and forming the Villanova Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, anybody think he is going to now stay healthy and then also fully clicked offensively? That's an injury concern. I understand why Tommy, you, and every other Knick fan wanted OG Anunoby back. That is a major injury concern.
I would say major.
How is it not? He's got chronic issues.
Yeah, he's had varying issues. I won't say major.
You got to stay on the floor when you sign for 5 years, $270 million, Teak. And the Knicks have prioritized all this while letting a heart and soul guy, and I-Hart walk out the door. I just think the Knicks are not this complete perfect picture that everybody is waving the flag for. And this move today, while everybody understands it and it's financially driven, I think the Knicks losing I-Hart, gaining Mikal Bridges, I'm not so sure they are light years better than they were a year ago when everybody's healthy.
No, look, you're right. And I think at some point, maybe this becomes an offensive issue. But think about the offense of this Knicks team. I-Hart was excelling offensively the way he was because he needed to be, right? With full health of this Knicks team. Let's you talk about Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, right? There's scoring available. Like I-Hart's offensive uptick was only important for the Knicks. Not only, but it was more important for the Knicks because they lacked other scoring options.
Right, they were down to so many injuries.
Right, they had so many guys that were banged up. We're not even talking about the big Ragu, who's going to hopefully increase his efficiency and production. Like scoring doesn't, to me, feel like the issue for the New York Knicks. It's going to be who can we consistently get to play in the paint and play defense. Yeah. And when you look at it, right, I-Hart served the role when everybody was hurt. But if everybody's healthy, would he still have been needed to serve that role? And I honestly think that was the calculus, right? I think Leon Rose was thinking about, right, what should we offer him or what can we offer him and how important is it, especially, with everybody else healthy and with our other priorities more paramount than keeping I-Hart here.
I think, to me, when I look at the Knicks, everybody who says, well, you can't assume guys are going to get hurt. I think you're at a point in time with Mitchell Robinson, even Julius Randle's had his share of injuries, and then obviously throw in OG Anunoby. I don't think you can also assume health. And to me, losing I-Hart does more than this. When you look at what the Sixers just did, adding Paul George. Now, granted, he's got to be healthy. Joel Embiid's got to be healthy. That is a foe in the Eastern Conference that while everybody flexed and took care of them as the Sixers were down and beat up, they are, in theory, going to get better. How does a team with Mitchell Robinson and who knows what, maybe you bring back Precious Achiuwa behind him, how are they going to handle some of the bigs? Giannis, if he's healthy, if they have to deal with a team like the Bucks in the paint. Right. Not that I-Hart was, basically Alonzo Mourning in his prime, but I am very worried about the Knicks' basically lack of acknowledging needing size and needing that importance of scoring in the paint. And playing with all of what they're going to do on the wing here with Bridges and OG Anunoby, they've basically robbed Peter to pay Paul. I'm sorry, Tiki. I think Knicks fans, as much as we're in the la-la paradise, have to understand this is now going to be a much more difficult Eastern Conference. Right. And this isn't, I would have rather, found a way, ditch Deuce McBride. You have the depth there. You have so many guards on the team. I think they're going to rue the day that they let I-Hart walk out the window.
Well, I mean, out the door. Obviously, Sims is going to be asked to play a more important role. I don't see Precious coming back. I mean, they let him walk. He's a good player, and but who knows? But that is where it is. I think ultimately, though, it gives them the opportunity because I'm gonna position it as an opportunity to play differently. And before last year, I wouldn't have thought that Tom Thibodeau was a coach who would adjust. He was just set in his ways. He's doing things one way and one way only. Last year, you saw him do things differently, right? You saw him maximize and develop the skill of a lot of different floor combinations. And so I think they're going to play small a lot. I think that could benefit them. Now, maybe this becomes a we have to outscore you type of thing, but I think they have the scores to do that. I think with Julius Randle healthy, they'll be able to play some more bully basketball, which they didn't do a ton of. It was a lot of finesse basketball. And so you just have to hope that, Mitch stays healthy and that Jericho Sims gives you more minutes than he has to, and maybe he evolves. Who knows? I mean, he's 25, almost 26 years old. So he still has growth, you would think. He hasn't gotten a ton of minutes. But they had to make a decision. And the decision to overpay I-Hart was not something that I think made sense to them, especially if they don't need his scoring next year, which I don't think they will.
Well, as the dust settles here on what has already been a frenzy of a first day of free agency, and we'll get to Tommy in a second, 888-808-1019, where do the Knicks now rank in the Eastern Conference? I think after the Bridges trade where everybody thumped their chest walking out of Citi Field that night, everybody was chanting, let's go Knicks, and thinking championship. I have to be real, Tiki, and this isn't me trying to be a cold water, and I'm not even going to pull the IBO stunt that Evan always likes to pull. Boston Celtics are the defending champs. I'll be for sale right now, the defending champs. Milwaukee, if Giannis and Dame are healthy.
That's a big if.
Of course, but the Knicks have big ifs on the injury front.
Yeah, but less, I feel like, real ifs.
I don't know, man. Especially with the minutes Thibs plays them.
Yeah, but this year felt flukish. It felt, anything that could have gone wrong went wrong for them health-wise.
True.
You just lost everybody at the wrong time. and Randall being the most important one.
But he's been banged up in his Knicks career.
Yeah, but I mean, I just felt like this year was so just disadvantaged because of the untimely injuries. Yet they still went into the second round of the playoffs.
They did.
Right? They still found ways to achieve. And it's because they have a star scorer. And they have, I don't know, they have consistency and they have
Brunson is going to keep them in the mix at all times.
100%. Like, it feels like they have players that can turn over and take over games in certain moments. And so with health, I think you had to make a decision. And that's what the offseason is really all about. It is, what are our priorities and what tough decisions are we going to have to make? And paying I-Hart would have felt good because it's basically running it back to basically the same thing we did last year. But at the same time, they couldn't do it, right? Without moving more money and most likely Deuce, you couldn't do it. And so I applaud the hard decision they had to make. And look, I-Hart, yeah, is he in a better spot? Possibly. Are they winning out there? I don't know.
I don't know that the Knicks are either. Right. Look, I'll be the bearer of bad news. I think the Knicks, at best right now, are the fourth best team in the East. Doesn't mean with injuries to the Bucks and Sixers they can't rise above and make a run.
Yeah, but
their work is cut out.
But I also feel like in the East, it just feels like, just get there.
Oh, right? I agree. Everybody who I rank above them is beatable.
Right.
No doubt about it.
Just get there. Maybe the Boston Celtics won't be because now they've won a championship. They're actually loaded when you think about it, especially if Kristaps comes back.
And did you see how much money Derek White got?
I know.
Don't you wish you were a basketball player?
Derek White, who Evan was talking about the whole offseason, the whole postseason, got broke off.
$125.9 million deal.
I know. So other than the Celtics, I feel like any of these teams, the Knicks, playing at their best and healthy, can beat them. So we'll figure this out more as we get closer to the season. But the issue at hand today was I-Hart absolutely necessary for the Knicks to continue what they had started doing? And my answer is no. I give them credit for taking the money, running across to the West Coast or close to the West Coast to Oklahoma City, middle of the country, and getting paid. But the Knicks made the right decision in my mind. They didn't need to overspend for an asset that they're not necessarily going to need, especially on the offensive side.
Now, before we take your calls at 888-808-1019, the Knicks Pope is in the building. That who waves to all the Knicks fans at Citi Field and arenas alike all throughout the tri-state whenever Knick news breaks. And I don't think it would be right to take a phone call after Isaiah Hartenstein is gone to Oklahoma City without Tommy Lugauer addressing the masses. Tommy, the forum is yours.
Let me first start with my fellow Knicks fans. I told you this.
Did you prepare this?
No, this is right off the top of the head, and this is why I'm the future.
It sounded like you were giving a presidential primary or
well, then I'd be arguing about my golf game and if I hit the ball farther than Shawnee.
We might need Tommy.
The Knicks, I told you last week, had a surplus of dudes and dogs. When the music stopped, the chairs, there would only be enough for a few people.
Yep.
There would be a dude or dog that would be left behind. I-Hart took the bag, took the extra boxes of ZD. We wish him well in OKC. The Knicks have dudes. The Knicks have dogs. The Knicks will do damage. I trust the process. I trust Leon Rose. I trust Tibbs. And I will walk into the Miss of Avalon and follow them because I trust what they're building with this organization. So that's to my fellow Knicks fans. Now to Sean, who, of course, is part of the coalition.
Where's Avalon?
Avalon? Isn't it like a club that's... I don't know. What is Avalon?
It's from Step Brothers. All right, rent the movie. Do the homework tonight. That's number one. Number two.
It's that one, too.
Sean Marash, who's in the coalition of Knick haters, of course, led by Evan Roberts.
Are you in the coalition?
Oh, he's major in the coalition.
I'm a donator.
He writes them a check at the end of every single year. I don't even know where to begin with all the stuff that you said in the open here that was completely wrong here. You said Oklahoma City has a better chance of winning the championship.
Sports books agree.
A banged-up Knick team went further than Oklahoma City last year in the playoffs. That's number one. So don't give me that.
Oklahoma City got better.
Okay. All right. And so did the Knicks because they got Bridges and they brought back Anunoby, who was hurt in the Pacers series. Now you're going to give me Paul George to the Sixers. Paul George is a loser. He's always hurt, so he's in the right city. Evan was pushing Paul George on the Knicks. That's all you need to know because Evan loves to push. push the rat poison and the pills on the Knicks because he wants to see them lose. OG Anunoby was the top priority because, check the record, they were as good as any team in the league when OG Anunoby was on the floor. Then you bring in Mikal Bridges, the final Infinity Stone, a guy like OG Anunoby that could play defense, a great two-way player.
Great.
The Knicks, great. The Knicks,
using that word.
I was told 3 years ago by Evan Roberts or 2 years ago that Bridges was the best player in New York.
And we were wrong.
Okay. Well, no, you're mad now because Mikal Bridges was checked out last year because he was playing in front.
It's almost impossible to evaluate him because he was playing with nobody. Surprisingly, it was always full over there.
Well, it was an arena full of tourists.
Right, whatever. It was always full over there, but I can't say he was playing in front of nobody because he was playing in front of people. But the team had no chance to win.
There was no atmosphere. Right. There's no Net fans. We know that. It's ridiculous. It's at Broadway show or go see a Net game. So Bridges is the missing piece. He's a great two-way player, and defense was their biggest struggle. They got that with Bridges. They got that with Anunoby. Whether they bring back Precious Achiuwa, whoever they add here, I trust Tibbs to coach him up, and I trust Leon Rose to identify a player that fits this system, a dude, a dog, somebody to bring in here to bring the Knicks to the championship. We have a date with the Boston Celtics. Sean, you're invited. Tiki, you're invited, and I cannot wait.
888-808-1019. Knick fan already in denial, pointing to injuries with Paul George, but not OG Anunoby. We'll continue to take your calls on that. Plus, on the 37th anniversary of WFAN, we got a message from a Knick player today that the power of WFAN still reigns supreme.